Growing as a team, let's talk about it. Big classic topic, but in this case, let's specifically talk about growing as a team if the direction is kind of unclear. Because this typical idea of growth, of course, is predicated on the thought of an idea about the future. So we know what our vision of the future looks like, and so we have an idea of what we need to grow into. But today, we're super often finding ourselves in situations where there is a lot of excitement, possibility, and pressure in the air, but it doesn't materialize in the form of this clear plan for the future. So we're running a lot of team building events, retreats, and offsites, and super often we're confronted with this question by clients. We have a ton of ambitious people, we have a ton of pressure, everybody wants to grow, but it's so hard for us to specifically put a finger on what that thing is we need to grow on. And the honest answer is this single-minded focus of a linear path to one goal doesn't exist any longer in society, in companies, and in teams. We're living now in a world where we're constantly beginning things and ending things, beginning things and ending things, again and again and again. We are never arriving. Yeah, we are constantly transitioning. Like everybody is in an endless transition. Yeah, and so the question is, hey, if you are in these endless transitions to some unknown future, like how do you organize your own growth or your growth as a team? It's really a problem. What's the solution to this? I'm not going to offer you the panacea. I'll have to disappoint you. But one very important thing is that you got to swallow it. You got to suck it up. Everybody needs to understand you will never arrive. We are in a constant state of becoming, but we will never arrive. And once you've really accepted that, it gets much easier. In this reality, like what are the skills that you really need, that you can train yourself on, that you can train your team on? These are highly transferable skills, and these are values. So the skills are curiosity, most importantly, and a very flexible mind that's able to learn. Yeah, and learning is not only intelligence. Oh, you have a big CPU and you can process a ton of information. No, learning is really about openness and also about the ability to forget things, yeah, to unlearn things. And then, of course, it also helps if you're intelligent, but that's not the key ingredient. And then the other things are values. So I'm not going to preach here about what kind of values you should have. That's up to you. But whatever your values are, yeah, you gotta have the flexibility to see them apply or to apply them yourself in different contexts, you know? Okay, so if our lives are gonna be much less linear, what are our lives gonna look like? Like, what's a typical biography gonna look like? That's an interesting question. I mean, so far in this linear mindset, there was this clear succession of 3 phases in life. So maybe until some point in your 20s, you're gonna study, you're gonna be trained, then you're gonna enter professional life, have a job, maybe until your 60s, and then you're gonna go into retirement. So this was the clear linear thing. And then also within each of these 3 phases, there was also a linearity, like getting to the degree, going up the career ladder. And this kind of clear succession of steps doesn't exist anymore. So what's it going to be replaced by? First of all, these 3 phases are still going to exist, but in a non-linear way. So your life is going to be full of fragments here and there, disjointed fragments of these 3 elements. I know people, you know, they might have studied something, they tried to build a business for a few years, then they went into corporate, met lots of people, traveled the world, then maybe they did something in agriculture, trained as therapists, ran for public office. And so a lot of very disjointed experiences, but following a set of values and giving a very rich life experience to these people. And in between these things that I just said, there are transition phases or also mini retirements where you have to recover or really learn new skills, you know. And if you want to build really high-performing teams about new topics, you're going to want these characters. So we're seeing this a lot with our clients, that really the teams that are doing the sexy stuff, they are often driven by these kind of characters, or they attract them at least, or they even form them. These kind of lifestyles are like a proof that people have this ability that I talked about before. So if you're a leader, either you are one of those characters or you're gonna have to lead them. You need to know how to recognize these situations of transitions and how to manage them. Yeah, just let me close that this is really the possibility for an incredibly rich life. And if you find the right formats for perceiving, analyzing, managing these transitions, this can be truly powerful. Of course, I'm biased. I'm going to tell you, if you want to manage these transitions well with your team, what helps tremendously is going into nature for a few days together, going on a retreat or offsite. That helps you finding the time, finding the openness towards one another, towards seeing where you are, towards learning new things, towards managing the transition that you will have to manage. Yeah, that's my recommendation. There is a lot more to learn in new videos, but for today, thanks for tuning in.